5 on your side at 10 starts now.
We're wrapping up the work week with spring temperatures, pleasant weather, but as we look to the north, a series of cold fronts will usher in some of the coldest air of the season. I got your full forecast coming up.
The longest ever government shutdown now threatening turbulence for Thanksgiving travel.
I would rather fly, but I'm not going to take the chance of sitting there for hours and hours.
Tonight, travelers diverting from planes to trains and automobiles. Our top story, a high school athlete caught in the crossfire.
It was sad. Like I said, he's 16-year-old and he's in school.
Tonight, we're hearing from the stranger who ran to his rescue. Tonight, a 16-year-old boy is recovering after he was shot while jogging in South St. Louis. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush. Kelly Jackson has the night off. The shooting happened near the intersection of Virginia and Bates in the Carondelet area Tuesday afternoon. Tonight, 5 on your side's Robert Townsend went to that neighborhood and learned new information. Robert.
Mike, I talked to several concerned neighbors about the latest shooting and ongoing violence in that area. One woman told me how she and others ran to help the boy after he had been shot. Thursday evening was routine and quiet when this South City woman waited for a bus in her neighborhood. But just after 4:30 Tuesday afternoon, neighbors say 8 gunshots fired off here.
I heard the last 6.
Police say a 16-year-old boy told them he was jogging near Bates and Virginia Avenue when he was shot in his legs.
He ended up running and being able to get across by my house.
The mother of 4 and several neighbors didn't hesitate to help the teen.
I came out and he was shot and laid on the ground. I came out with some ties to help stop the bleeding. One of the police officers came first, was on scene, and had a tourniquet, a real tourniquet, and put it on him.
Paramedics rushed the boy to a hospital.
The ambulance driver did say that it was pretty bad. One of the shots went through and through. The second shot, I'm not sure if it went through the second leg, but it was 2 different bullets.
Neighbors say people in 2 cars almost crashed at the intersection and then gunshots rang out from both vehicles. Police say a preliminary investigation revealed someone in a dark-colored sedan fired shots towards the teen and then took off.
It is sad because he's a 16-year-old high school student and he actually is in track or something, he had said. So he was able to talk to us and rush him off. Yeah, oh yeah, he's a sweetheart.
This irresponsible.
This barbershop owner is just one of the many wishing the violence would stop. Meantime, people here are thinking about their young neighbor.
They don't value human life. That's somebody's family member.
I hope he can recover 100%.
Tonight, police are still looking for the people who fired the shots and a motive for the shooting. If you know anything about it, call St. Louis Police.
Tonight, a man is recovering after flipping his car near the Fox Theater. The crash happened about 2 hours ago on Grand, right outside the Commonwealth restaurant. A witness says the driver drove into a construction area and hit an excavator. No word yet on the driver's condition. The crash remains under investigation. Tonight, some hope for the longest ever U.S. government shutdown and that it could soon come to an end. Tomorrow, the Senate will hold its 15th vote to reopen the government. Republicans are reportedly trying to entice enough Democrats by adding long-term appropriations bills and a promise to hold a vote on extending subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. There's also good news for the millions of Americans who rely on federal food stamps. Hours ago, a federal judge ruled the Trump administration to fully fund SNAP benefits for November by tomorrow. The White House had said there was only enough in the contingency fund to pay out partial benefits to recipients. We've learned St. Louis Lambert International Airport is not directly affected by the FAA's plan to slash flights due to staffing shortages, exacerbated by the shutdown. Those cancellations start tomorrow morning at the nation's busiest airports, with flight disruptions climbing in the days ahead. 5 on your side's Brent Solomon is live tonight with the ripple effect this is having on other modes of travel. Brent.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, when folks go to board some 760 flights tomorrow, they won't be able to. They've been canceled, according to FlightAware, and those cancellations are expected to climb. That finds other modes of transportation, like Greyhound, welcoming these travelers with open arms.
When you've got to get from point A to point B, you want as few headaches as possible.
I really enjoyed it.
We caught up with Caroline Springer after she got off her train from Chicago. It's starting to become a welcomed option instead of always hopping on a plane.
It just seems like a lot of bother for a lot of money.
Amtrak says it started noticing an influx of passengers before the government shutdown and expects to see that continue now that flights are being scaled back. St. Louis Lambert International is not one of the 40 airports the FAA is telling to cut flights by 10%. But you could run into problems when you connect at cities like Atlanta, Denver, or Charlotte, to name a few.
I'm not flying because of the government shutdown.
So what are you going to do?
Just use the train.
Another option, Greyhound. The CEO said in a statement, you still have options. Intercity bus travel remains one of the most dependable ways to get around, especially when flying becomes unpredictable. Buses aren't impacted by air traffic reductions or TSA delays, and they operate frequent direct connections between city centers.
Remain as flexible as possible. That could be rethinking your travel plans for Thanksgiving if you're maybe within driving distance.
AAA says expect extra company on the roads since the holiday is already one that's full of those taking road trips.
It could add more volume to already busy roads, especially over the course of the Thanksgiving week and following weekend.
I would rather fly, but I'm not going to take the chance of sitting there for hours and hours.
And if you're going to drive, AAA says pick slower days to travel, like the Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving or in the middle of the week after the holiday. Meantime, Greyhound says they're prepared to increase capacity if demand goes up. Live downtown, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Tonight, St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer is launching a new initiative to help fill the gap for SNAP recipients. She's urging people and businesses to donate to the City Food Insecurity Fund. That's a partnership with the United Way, the St. Louis Area Food Bank, and Operation Food Search. Mayor Spencer says nearly 55,000 city residents rely on food stamps. Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski was in Edwardsville today, helping neighbors impacted by SNAP disruptions. She visited the Glened Food Pantry and spoke with the pantry's leadership to learn how she and other organizations can help those in need. And we have a full list of food collection and distribution sites on KSDK.com. Just text the word food to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link to your phone. Well, they look like drinks, snacks, and candies popular with children, but they have an intoxicating ingredient. A bill to regulate hemp-derived products like Delta 8 in St. Louis County was dropped after several weeks of heated debate. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski has been following this issue for months, and tonight she's hearing from lawmakers and youth advocates on where this all stands now. Laura?
Well, Mike, county council members and youth advocates both say regulations are still needed, and industry leaders don't disagree. But in St. Louis County, the thing is, they couldn't agree on how it needed to be done, and they'd rather see the state take this on to make those widespread changes instead.
From January 2021 to February 2022, the Food and Drug Administration says National Poison Control Centers received 2,362 exposure cases of Delta 8 cannabinoid products. 41% of those involved pediatric patients. Delta 8 is derived from hemp, which comes from the same cannabis plant as marijuana. Youth advocates at Prevent Ed like Adam McBride have seen this in Missouri kids.
Youth have greater access to intoxicating substances than they ever have before.
Just last year, 4 Sumner High students were hospitalized after buying intoxicating gummies at a convenience store. Because of these statistics, St. Louis County Councilwoman Lisa Clancy felt like she had to do something in the name of public safety.
We've seen young people getting sick by getting their hands on these products and taking them, unfortunately. And you know, I'm a mom. I've got little kids. My kids, the kind of stuff that my kids want to eat in terms of candy, they want to eat candy all the time, but it looks a lot like what these products look like.
Clancy introduced Bill 15 earlier this year. It would have required intoxicating cannabinoid products to be sold inside state-licensed marijuana dispensaries, which would have effectively been a ban.
So many of these products are made outside of the state. They have packaging that is against the rules and regulations for recreational marijuana. They don't require tracing and testing. And so there would have been a lot of hurdles that the distributors and manufacturers of these products would have had to go through, and I don't know that they would have been able to do that.
The council heard hours of testimony on the issue. Business owners said they wanted regulations, but not like this.
We want to continue growing our businesses and creating legacies for our families. This bill will eliminate that completely. Many Missourians have invested everything we have in the hemp industry. But if there are challenges or isolated bad actors in our sector, the Mohemp Trade Association stands as a ready partner with this body to address any issues.
After all of this debate, Clancy ended up dropping Bill 15.
It became very clear to me that we were at a bit of a gridlock over what the details of this policy would look like, particularly around whether or not we should compromise around hemp beverages.
Councilwoman Shalonda Webb prepared a substitute bill to regulate instead.
I wanted to make sure that we took care of age gating, packaging, as I mentioned before, labeling. I want to also make sure that the products was made in the USA, because I looked, based on the feedback given at the committee of the whole, a lot of the bad actors were not from the United States.
Webb says she proposed licensing fees and a tax to pay for regulation. The bill also included strong penalties for violations like fines and losing your license after the third strike. For now, they're going to let the state legislature give it another try.
But if the state does not take it up, we're sitting on the sideline ready to go immediately.
McBride says this whole process, while not fully successful, was still a step forward.
We have a better and clear understanding of what retail owners they would like to see. We have a better understanding of what advocates like us from a public health perspective, and particularly a child or youth perspective, would like to see. So I think there's been a lot of progress.
Is there still an urgency to take care of some of this now?
Well, if you'll allow me, I'll answer that with a question. To say that meet that mother, that father, that caregiver of a youth who accessed these and found their way to making a phone call to a poison control center, or found their way to an urgent care or an emergency room because they had absolutely zero idea what was impacting their child, but their child was not acting well and they weren't acting right. And ask them if time is of the essence.
Two similar bills to the ones proposed in St. Louis County failed during the last Missouri legislative session. Legislators head back to the Capitol in January.
Project 5 and Behavioral Health Response are teaming up to provide mental health counseling. Right now, trained counselors are just a phone call away. They're available until 10:30 by calling 988. Teens can just text "Be Heard" at 31658. Tonight, federal prosecutors serving up new charges and new defendants in connection to an immigration raid linked to a popular Chinese restaurant. Declawed, defenseless, and dumped in an alley.
We need to find this person. Why?
Tonight, a South City man's outrage after a herd of cats were abandoned behind his home.
We're tracking an Arctic blast of cold air into the region and a weak disturbance that could produce a few isolated snow flurries this weekend. We've got that and more in your forecast coming up next.
Just hours ago, people gathered in Louisville, Kentucky to remember those who lost their lives when a UPS cargo plane crashed during takeoff, causing a huge explosion in an industrial area. Louisville's mayor delivered a sad update during the gathering.
It is with deep sorrow that I announced there is an additional victim that I've just learned of. A 13th victim passed just a short while ago.
9 people are believed to be missing in the wreckage. The NTSB has a team of 30 investigators on the ground. New charges tonight in an illegal immigration case tied to a Chinese restaurant in St. Charles. The Golden Apple Buffet on Mexico Road was temporarily shut down back in September after federal agents raided 2 homes in St. Charles County. The restaurant's manager and another man were arrested and charged. Now a superseding indictment filed this week claims 2 others were part of the conspiracy to hire, house, and transport undocumented workers. They're also accused of creating fake Social Security cards and other legal documents, and all 4 face 14 felony counts. Jailed St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery faces a new count in the state case to remove him from office. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway now argues Montgomery violated state law by not devoting his time to the performance of his duties as sheriff. A judge recently removed Montgomery from office after he was jailed for a federal case. The state case is scheduled to go to trial on November 18th. Tonight, a South St. Louis man wants to know who dumped 4 cats in an alley. The whole thing was caught on camera. This afternoon, or Sunday afternoon, it happened near Pennsylvania and Lynch in Tower Grove East. Robert Day saw the cats and captured 3 of them. He said they were either declawed or recently groomed.
It's disappointing that there are so many resources available, and I understand that a lot of the rescues are full. This inhumane and cruel act boils down to being lazy.
Day is still searching for the 4th cat and is asking for help on Facebook. We have a link on KSDK.com. We've reached out to police on whether this person could face animal neglect charges. We are still waiting to hear back. More troubling news tonight for St. Louis Public Schools. It's one of 29 districts which scored below 70% in Missouri's annual performance report. If not improved, SLPS could face possible provisional accreditation in the future. That could lead to more state oversight. Rittner, Normandy, and Riverview Gardens also scored below that threshold. Meteorologist Lance Blocker joins us now with the weather impact forecast, and the impact is going to be cold.
Yeah, no doubt, and everybody's going to feel it here this weekend. We've got a tale of 2 halves as we move into Saturday and Sunday, but again, everybody gets in on the cold air, especially Monday morning and Tuesday morning. Temperatures are likely to be in the low 20s across the region, so our first real hard freeze as we transition into the winter months. So just a reminder, of course, you want to go and grab your hat and your gloves. You don't want to be looking for those at 6 a.m. on Monday morning. Grab those tomorrow or sometime this weekend to have them ready. And 2, we've been in a drought, so a lot of folks have been using sprinkler systems and hoses to help facilitate with that with their yards and everything else. Make sure those are drained so you don't get any issues from that deep freeze here this weekend on into early next week. In the meantime, though, look at that. Tomorrow, beautiful weather all across the region. High temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Only about a 20% chance for maybe an isolated shower. We'll keep that same rain chance for us here on Saturday. Perhaps a flurry even here on Sunday. I want to point this out. So we go from spring to winter, basically mid 60s on Saturday, low 40s on Sunday. That's deceiving, though. That 42 degrees, we might hit that at midnight between Saturday night into Sunday morning. Temperatures could be around 35, 36 during Sunday afternoon. So a cold day for us here on Sunday, and we'll keep that in play into next week as well. A couple of cold fronts move through. This is Friday, so tomorrow evening that front's off to our southeast. Here comes that other front. Again, a few isolated showers with this one as well on Saturday. Watch what happens, though. A weak disturbance, and the cold air is a very high confidence forecast. This is a very low confidence forecast. It's not impossible, so I wanted to mention it to you. I'm only going about a 20% chance of maybe an isolated flurry for any one given location. 20% chance of a flurry means it's an 80% chance it doesn't flurry in your location. Just keep that in mind, but a few locations will likely see that on Sunday. If you want the warmer weather, you don't have to hold on too long. Again, we have the nice weather the next couple of days. There's your cold blast here. We return into the latter part of next week with highs back in the mid to upper 60s perhaps as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. And the long-term forecast into the middle of November, of course, it's St. Louis, so this is what we do. The long-term forecast brings us into the mid to upper 60s once again. So this real quick blast of cold air, and then we're just right back into spring.
All right, we'll take spring.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lance. Sports is next.
Well, Jim Montgomery had a strong message for his Blue squad tonight, but did they respond? SLU basketball continued their strong start to the season, and one high school football program in Illinois is basking in history right now. Sports is on deck after the break.
And it's Throwback Thursday on the 5+ streaming app. Tonight at 10:30, we take you back to July 30th, 1994. That was the day Cardinals football legend Jackie Smith was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You can watch that for free on your Roku, Apple, Fire, Samsung, or LG TV.
Right now, we got to dig in and work our ways out of it. We just got to dig in. If there's a puck between you and I'm going to break your leg to get the puck. We have to have more of that mentality.
The Blues have lost 8 of their last 9 games. They sit tied for fewest points in the entire NHL. Jim Montgomery wanted to send a message ahead of tonight's game against the Sabres. That came in the form of the pregame plea you just heard and a healthy scratch for one of the team's most important players. That player was Jordan Kyrou, who could just watch from the top of the arena in Buffalo, a healthy scratch in Monty's lineup. Seems like the Blues heard his message, though. Right off the bat, Tyler Tucker scraps with St. Louis native Josh Dunn. That'll get the boys fired up on the bench. Matthew Joseph got the message too. Blues on the penalty kill, but Joseph steals the puck, takes it all the way for the shorthanded goal. 1-0 Blues. The man in net sure needed a good night, and he got it. Joel Hofer was fantastic in this one. Blues went up 2-0 in the second period on a goal from Nick Bukestad. They added an empty netter, went on to win 3-0 as Joel Hofer stops all 27 Sabres shots in his third career shutout. SLU men's hoops hosting Chicago State tonight. Josh Schertz trying to find the right on-court combinations for his team. And if Robbie Avila is on the court, it's probably a good combination. There's 3 of Robbie's 15 on the night. This man is a human spark plug. Kellen Thames is electric in transition. Big time slam, part of his 15 points. Nice night for one of the new additions as well. Ishan Sharma had a team-high 16 points. SLU dispatches Chicago State with a 108-86 victory. Every year there's a program or two around St. Louis high school football that becomes historic in their respective town. That's the only way to describe the 2025 Dupo Tigers, historic. They're doing things that haven't been done in 3 decades. In the small town of Dupo, Illinois, population under 4,000, the most popular current residents can be found on the football field. The 9-1 Tigers are preparing for their second round playoff matchup against Carrollton on Saturday. That means they won a playoff game last week, the program's first postseason win since 1994.
It's been like a wild journey, so it just means a lot. I don't really know how to explain it, but some of you can't really explain. Some of you only get to live through once.
And the Tigers' success has the whole town buying in.
It's a big deal right now. You know, some of the things we're accomplishing, it's not been done in 30 years. So, I mean, some of these things are dates that are older than me.
Anchoring Dupo is senior Deegan Prater. The team's quarterback, kicker, punter, returner, and safety rarely comes off the field.
I love doing anything I can, like to help the team. I want to win, really. That's just the end goal. I want to win. So if I can do anything to help us win, that's playing defense, offense, special teams, I'll do that.
Prater isn't just playing for himself or his team. He's honoring the memory of his late brother, David.
I have a why, I really have a why for anything I try doing, so I'm doing it 100%. I have no reason to not do something 100%, so I have my why, and I'm thinking about it always.
With a 30-year playoff winless streak broken, the Tigers are dreaming big in Class 1A, but they're making sure to embrace the ride along the way.
We talk about it a lot, like obviously we want to take it seriously and we want to, you know, be as competitive as we can and win as many as we can. But I also in the same sentence tell them, like, you know, this hasn't been done in 30 years here, and it's a big deal, so enjoy it.
Really worked real hard for this, all of us in general, and we just wanted to keep our name remembered.
It's going to be something to tell our kids. It's going to be something to remember. It's just something to be proud of.
Congrats to Cardinals slugger Alec Burleson. Burley won the National League Utility Silver Slugger Award tonight. He hit .290 with 18 home runs and 81 RBIs. He's the first Cardinal to ever win a Silver Slugger Award since Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado in 2022. Congrats again to Burley. We have a Big Time Sports Plus on deck for Sunday, a Max Scherzer interview, a history of Cardinals gold gloves, and a sit down with the new man in charge of Busch Stadium, Chaim Bloom. Here's Chaim on getting the Cards back to relevance.
Yeah, how soon we can get there is less important than how well we can get there, and that when we get there, we have the ability to sustain it. And some parts of that may take longer than others, so we just got to keep our eye on that.
Certainly going to be the most watched man in St. Louis over the next few months.
I love the Dupo player who's the quarterback, the safety, the kicker, and the punter.
When I was at the game last Saturday shooting highlights, he did not leave the field. He, like, literally, I'm not exaggerating, he didn't leave the field.
That's pretty special. All right, Corey, thanks. This bud is for the holidays, how you can crack open some Yuletide spirit with the king of beers. The holidays are brewing at Starbucks. Today, baristas started serving up hot beverages in red and green cups with ribbon and plaid designs. And many are trying to get their paws on this new Starbucks Barista Cold Cup. Costs $30. A St. Louis brew is also getting into the holiday spirit. Budweiser has unveiled limited edition cans featuring the iconic Budweiser Clydesdales in a wintry and festive scene. One of those majestic horses, Hansi, stopped by outside our station today.
You can see Hansi at the brewery lights this year. It's our 40th year. Guests will be immersed in over 1 million lights. It's a family-friendly environment. They're going to have a parade every night at 7:30.
Brewery lights start November 22nd. Tickets are on sale right now. And it's going to feel like the holidays on Sunday, Lance.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's also getting into the holiday spirit there. Temperatures this weekend are nice Saturday, not so nice Sunday, but we warm up into the middle of next week.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+. Don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis. That begins at 5 a.m. Have a great tomorrow and stay safe.